Hey, Coach, congratulations on a great season. Um, just now that you've had a chance to kind of digest everything, your thoughts on that last sequence of the game. I know it was, had to hurt. And then, just the outlook you have moving forward, adding, you know, four more elite players into the mix.
Just looking back on the opportunities that we had to advance to the national championship game. Two layups that could have changed the whole trajectory of the championship. I mark it as it wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. We came as close as you can come to getting to that elusive national championship game again, but it wasn't meant to be. But it gives us a starting point for who we want to be and what we want to accomplish next year, and creating that that margin of error every time that we step on the floor. We bring a really good team back, including some of the nation's best high school players, and we look forward to them coming in sometime this summer and getting their feet wet and hopefully helping us avoid the devastating loss that we had last season.
David, and then Joe.
Hey, Dawn, thanks for doing this. Just a couple of questions about your timeline going forward. First, have you had the end of season meetings with the players yet? And second, where do you go from here in terms of getting ready for AmeriCup and then Olympic ball?
No, I haven't had them. We got 5 today and 5 tomorrow. Then we'll do some postseason workouts on Thursday and Friday. The AmeriCup participants are coming in on Thursday. I'm fully vaccinated, so I don't have to bubble until Sunday. And then we're here for Sunday through Friday is when everybody goes next week. Everybody goes home. And then, we wait a little bit. And I think the end of May is when we get back together and go to Puerto Rico to compete. And then shortly after that, we get together for the Olympics. I know this because I just started to put my calendar together yesterday. I didn't know it before yesterday, for real.
Joe, and then Dick.
Dawn, staying on that calendar timeline and trying to also create that mindset in the off season with your busy schedule that you'll have coming up. Are you formulating a plan to how the team will work and operate as you're juggling so many different hats this summer?
Yeah, we've been through it before. We've been through it a lot over the past 4 years, just prepping for the Olympics and all the competitions and training camps that we have to do. So it will be very similar to that. I do believe our 2019 class, I'm sure I had to do something, and didn't see them most of the time that they were here in the summer. But our staff has been together for a long time, and we're like a fine oil machine. We'll just have to, we'll just have more bodies than we've had in a long time to just make sure everybody's happy and getting better every day and focused.
Dick, and then Greg.
Hey, Dawn, it was a tough, hard season, but you were able to make it through the season. What did you learn from this season? And the second question I had was, have you talked to Lily yet? And do you know if she plans to use her extra year of eligibility that she now has?
Yeah, tough is relative, when relatively speaking. Tough is when you look at the big picture and how many people that were impacted by COVID, and in a way of death, in a way of being sick, in the way of, people still being impacted by it. So it's tough when you actually look at it, in that big picture. But what we were able to do is, our medical staff, our athletic just did a great job, did a great job at just navigating us through it. Don't think it would have gone as smoothly if, he didn't just, he wasn't in close contact with, our doctors and our medical staff to make sure that, we were doing things the right way. He did get on my nerves a few times throughout the season with just the strictness of it, the strictness of having to do it this way. But we did it the way it's supposed to have done, and look at us. We had one, we had one setback and a false positive throughout the year, but we moved through it in a way in which was swift and thorough, and it put us in a position to compete for a national championship. So we couldn't ask for it to have gone, better.
Do you know what Lily's status is going to be? Is she going to come back, or is she going to move on with her career?
I haven't had that conversation with Lily. She is currently home and discussing that with her family. So, I mean, whatever she decides, whether she comes back or whether she decides to go in a different direction, I mean, I'd be happy for her, because, the bottom line is happiness for our players. We certainly think we create a happy environment here, but if she goes a different route, young people can decide that for themselves. I mean, I won't push either way, because it has to be a decision that's best for Lily and her family. And I want it to be hers, not me pushing her over the edge, or me, doing anything besides, telling her what we have here. And she's experienced it for 4 years. And I don't want it to sound like I'm like, I don't want you guys putting it on, social medias. I'm not, if you know me, you know that I enjoy where I work. I try to create an environment for people to be happy, and if they don't, I'm happy for them wherever they end up. So I'm not pleading for Lily to stay or to go.
Greg and then Mitch.
Hey, Dawn, you mentioned that process of integrating the 2019 class and dealing with that. And just when you bring in another really great class like this 2021 group, I guess, are there any lessons from that summer 2 years ago?
Was that me? Was I frozen?
I think so.
Oh, so you
I think
said
you're back
integrate.
now, Coach. Sorry, I got locked. I got sent away and back into. So.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Am I broken up? Because Diane's broken up. Okay. All right. Integrating the 2019 class into the fold. Is there any familiarity to that with this new class? Yes. I mean, obviously we brought in a large group like we're bringing in this year. I mean, here's what I'm anticipating. I'm just anticipating, the players that we have here. They've been through that process of bringing in a pretty good freshman class, and we will draw on those experiences that we've had with them. But what's similar is, that class 2019 and this class 2021, they all knew what they were signing up for, meaning they knew we were talented. They knew we were on the brink of, winning a national championship. That's what they signed up for. So what we'll have to do is just make sure that it's always in the forefront. This is what we signed up for. Whatever that, whatever that brings to the, to our unit, to our family. So we'll definitely have to do a lot of talking. We definitely have to make sure everybody's happy and create an atmosphere of communication. So we're not left just assuming, because we don't really like to assume anything. We'll nag you before we assume that something's going on. But we look forward to it. I think it's a great, it's a great time for our program to integrate, this talent.
Mitch and then Mike.
Coach, obviously, the rule right now doesn't allow them really the flexibility to be able to make this decision the way they want to. But do you think it's time for the early entry rule to change for women's college basketball and with the WNBA?
No, I don't, because there are 144 jobs available in the WNBA, and pretty much 137 of them are locked. Locked. To come out under those percentages of getting a job, securing a job, and the longevity of being a WNBA player only happens to the very best. And that's hard for, it's hard for young people to navigate. I just think you need a little bit more time to mature and grow and create longevity in the league. And you can only do that by experience in college basketball. And I think, quite honestly, I think South Carolina creates what is very similar to a pro team, and how you need to compete every single day and compete with people who are as talented as you are and people who are trying to go where you're trying to go. So, some people may say, oh, we got too much talent. We got layers of talent. We do. But we're mirroring what it would look like at the next level. If you could play for us, you could play in the league, because I think 80 to 90% of our players are going to end up in the league. I think they're just that good.
Mike Gillespie and then Mike Uva.
Hey, Don, thank you so much for doing this today. Just a quick question for you. I was reading a stat yesterday. Apparently 72% of the Japanese public is in favor of canceling the Olympics this year. Wondering what your thoughts are on that. Are you afraid that there might not be an Olympics this summer?
No, there will be an Olympics this summer, without a doubt. And I think it's going to be played in the way that they've come out and say, where there's no fans and everything's going to be credentialed. You can bubble that environment up and create a safe space for all the athletes and the coaches and the organizers and, everybody. So I do, contrary, and I didn't even know that percentage was 2%, but everything's a go on our part.
Is that a good question?
And we welcome and look forward to it.
Mike Uva, go ahead, and then we'll go to Pete Iacobelli.
I hope that they don't have time to call on me.
Who said that?
That wasn't me. I think Carolina News. Yeah, it's all good. We heard.
Just
You
for that,
you could
Oh,
ask
we
the
gonna
que-
call on, make sure we get Carolina News in there.
I'm gonna slow next.
Hey, Coach. I know it's not the exact same, but in terms of the perception, probably from your fan base and people on the outside, to come up as close as you guys did, I think a lot of people can compare it to the 2015 and 2016 seasons in terms of how they ended. I know it's not one of those things you'll probably be able to answer directly right now. Might be giving me a different answer come time for season next year, but what were you guys able to learn from that season that helped you guys get to that 2017 point? Was it less words and just more experience? And what do you remember from those off seasons?
I hope it doesn't end up, like 2016. I sure hope that's not in the cards. I mean, I think it's great just to experience being in the Final Four. Like, some of our youngsters, everyone on our team, this year hasn't experienced the Final Four. So to have experienced it, to gain that experience, to know what it takes to compete and get there, that's going to be enough to fuel us to want to get back and to win. And now that we know, because you really can't, like, if I told our players the margin of error will be, a putback, or, a transition layup, they wouldn't have believed me. They wouldn't have believed that it's that small. But now that they've gone through that, we got a place to start and a place to just really just tap back into when we feel like we don't want to be motivated to practice, which I doubt that's the case, because it's never really been the case over the past 2 years. But if there are, lessons in the game, that can snap them back into, knowing that, hey, the margin of error is this small. We got to make sure that we are checking some boxes off, so we're not put in that situation. But I have no doubt this team is going to be successful. How successful, I don't know, but for us, and just like for some of you, because I see some of your writings, and for our fans, anything less than a national championship is failure. That's our expectation now, is to win a national championship, and it's not, those are our goals. So when we don't accomplish it, we feel bad, and we hurt just as much as everybody else.
Pete Iacobelli and then Matt Dell.
Hey, Dawn, regarding these freshmen who you're bringing in, from what I've read and seen a little bit, they seem like very competitive players who probably expect to get a lot of playing time next year. Is that the kind of, with all the discussions of nice and nasty from last year about your team, is this the kind of competitiveness that you want to see in training camp and leading into next year? People really pushing each other to get better.
I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. Because I do think that the impact on practice, like I do think this 21 class will have an impact on practice, just from a competitor standpoint, just like 2019 had a huge impact on every day, for Ty and Kiki being seniors, they knew the routine. And when you know the routine, you kind of get laxed. But 2019 freshmen did not let anybody relax. They wanted it. And I do feel like the 2021 will certainly have that same feel, because the youngsters are grown up now. Destiny Henderson and Destiny Littleton and Victoria, they're grown. They've been there. They've been through, 2 seasons now, one with the postseason. So I mean, that their expectations are known. So we just got to make sure we're keeping up with just competing every day and not let our guards down.
Matt and then Sloan.
Dawn, as we look forward to next season, we all saw the emotion of your players after that Final Four. I'm just curious, as an athlete, how important is it for you to almost grieve those tough losses like that and feel what you need to feel in order to use that emotion as fuel later on?
I mean, it's gotta hurt. I mean, when it hurts, it means a lot to you. You know, I particularly don't like for young people to hurt that way. But you know, it certainly makes you stronger. It will certainly teach lessons. We don't always get what we deserve. You don't in life. You don't get what you deserve. Or you also certainly don't get what you work for. You certainly don't always, you know, the work that you put in doesn't always result in success of, you know, of the goal you set out. I mean, that's the great thing about sports is you can get better. I mean, you can figure out ways to work on it, to replace those, you know, those memories with great memories. And that's what we'll do. You know, Aaliyah, you know, I mean, she's probably not over it, you know, but it's in the back of her mind. And that's what you want, you know, like it's almost, you know, comparable to, you know, like, you know, I grew up in the projects. I don't want to live in the projects anymore. It's nothing against the projects, but you know, I'm a little afraid of poverty. But you need that. You need that experience to know what it feels like, so you can work that much harder, you know, to avoid that. And you know, that's sports with Aaliyah. That's life with me. And you know, we need things that help us fuel what it is that we don't want to feel, that you know that we experienced.
Sloan and then Keith.
Hi, I'm really sorry about having my mic
Oh,
muted earlier. I didn't realize.
Take it for an hour.
I was just wondering, as last year you guys, obviously the championship, everything was canceled due to COVID, but you guys had that caliber to be a national champion again, and making it to the Final Four this year, coming back and really like making that happen for students. How proud of you are you, like for your team and everything?
I'm super proud. I mean, this team came in this season with, you know, high expectations, some from other sources, but mainly from, you know, within. This team wanted to win a national championship. This team came in with that and the weight of that on their shoulders. And you know, throughout the season, we had some adverse moments, and through that adversity, we got better. Almost to the, to the tune of, you know, people almost forgetting about us a little bit. And I thought that was needed, just to kind of take the weight off of our shoulders and for us to just get better and just kind of buckle down and find a way to fight through. And that is, you know, for me, is a true mark of a champion. We may not be the national champions, but we championed adversity in a way that could have gone either way. We could have tanked, and you know, but we found enough fight in us to string some wins together at the end, win a SEC tournament championship, win 4 games in the NCAA tournament, put us in the Final Four. We lose on the last second layup put back. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that. But with all of that, you know, we left a goal out there on the table that we will fight like tooth and nails to get back and get next season.
Hey, Coach, so I'm going to ask about two players, if I can. So Destiny Henderson, how much does she benefit from this season, her first season as a starter? Looking ahead to next year, I know a couple times the NCAA tournament, you spoke about how, she either passed up a lot of wide open shots or you wish she would have looked for her shot sooner. It seemed at times she kind of struggled with when to facilitate versus when to take shots. How do you help her get to the next level to where that's easier for her? And then just how much harder will it be because you're going to be even more talented next year? So that's one. And then second, if I could just ask,
Well, let me answer
talk
that
about,
one. Let me answer
Okay.
that one because I forget what the first one is. So then you can follow up with it. Destiny Henderson, you have to have experienced it firsthand to be a starting point guard for our team. There are highs and lows with it, especially when it's your first time. And she's experienced those. I do think just her having been the full-time point guard for us and dealt with all the highs and lows that come with that is only going to help her. Destiny Henderson can really flat out shoot the ball. And she doesn't shoot enough for me. She actually did not take shots that she usually takes for us in the tournament. And it was, and I asked her, she's like, she's like, I didn't shoot the ball well in warm-ups. I'm like, geez. So it is that, it is those moments where you're communicating with her. And if she doesn't say anything, like if she doesn't say, I don't know, if she just says, I don't know, that hurts her. That hurts her growth. But because she said, I didn't feel it in warm-ups, I just felt like I needed to just kind of get everybody else involved and just wait on my shot. You can teach her from that. You can teach her because you don't take, the shot that you have, which is the best shot on the floor. We're struggling to find a shot after that. That is the type of, teaching that she must understand in the moment. But because we're able to open up the conversation for that, it helps. So it's only going to help her. Competition is only going to help her. I don't see where it's a loss, moving forward. So go ahead, Keith, you can ask your second question.
Keith, you're on mute.
Thanks, Diana. Sorry. Can you talk about LA, her growth, and now that she's gone through a season healthy, she has such a high ceiling. What's that expectation moving forward?
The expectation is for her to continue just to play as confidently as she has. But she also, she's got to make better decisions. She's got to be more efficient. She's got to be able to play multiple positions that if that's what she wants to do and seamlessly do that. And it's not easy. I think she was needed, and she'll be needed next year, but she has to put that type of pressure on herself every day. But I think for the most part, decision making, efficiency, and I could probably go down the line with 90% of our players in that department.
Joe and then Dick.
Dawn, I wanted to circle back on something you mentioned, and I have a sense that you run toward pressure and you embrace it as fuel. And when you talk about the Olympics, I've seen your comments where you talk about embracing that pressure, not to end the streak, so to speak. What has it been about you that you're not afraid to talk about the magnitude of the moment or the journey, and how do you use that mindset and influence your players to embrace the same?
You have to get it out. It's the pink elephant in the room. you all see it. If you just act like it's not there, it works against you. You know, you got to speak to the pink elephant. Hey, I see you, and you you got to move towards it, and you got to kind of move it out your way and just continue. I don't know why I'm like that, but I mean it's helped me just get through some things where you just got to take things your face on, and you know if it defeats you, you got to figure out a way to defeat it. You know, pressure is everywhere. Like, you know, your whole life is pressure filled. So you're either going to face it or you put it off for another day. It doesn't matter. It's going to show up. So I prefer just facing it. I prefer talking about it and dealing with it, because it's, you know, once you deal with that, there's going to be something else that's right behind it. It's the kind of world that we're in, and you know, I'm thankful my Philly roots have created a good foundation to deal with it.
Dick and then David.
Dawn, when you have so many McDonald's All-Americans, how hard is it to keep them all involved and to keep them active and keep them happy? I mean, most teams have a team full of players that have eaten at McDonald's. You've got a team full of McDonald's All-Americans. And do you ever reach a point where you can have too much talent on a team?
I mean, I don't know. This is the first time we've had as many McDonald's All-Americans, but you can't bring those titles into practice because they don't help you. They don't help, you know. So I think what we've done and what we will continue to do is we approach it the same way. They are people, you know, they are young people. So young people you have to talk to, young people you have to keep engaged, young people you have to tell the truth and you be honest with them at all times, because you know they remember the darndest things. Like I can say that I didn't promise any of our, you know, I don't promise any of our incoming prospects or any prospect that they're going to start. I can't do that for the life of me. I just can't do that because, you know, it's a disservice to all the players that you have here. And I do think the prospects that do decide to come here, they're coming here on that strength of truthfulness, directness, and it's probably the very thing that we don't get other recruits, because that's how we are. You know, am I a disciplinarian? Absolutely am. You know, what I consider myself strict, I don't consider myself strict, but I do. You know, I have a moral compass. I have I have principles and I have core values. And because our staff has been together for a long time. You know, we don't allow anyone or anything to, we don't subject ourselves to our, you know, a detriment to our core values or principles. We don't, any one person, any one thing, it's not. And young people have and appreciate, and not only young people, because before you get to the young person, it is the adults in their lives that are the ones that really understand what we're talking about. And we've been very fortunate the last couple of years to get great parents. You know, whether we agree to disagree, we have direct conversations. And so they know, so they understand. They might not always like it, but they can respect it. And that's all you can really ask for. So I'm super excited about the parents. Just got a text message from a parent yesterday. Honest, you know, and I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but she's like, when are we gonna get some people in the portal? How can we help? How can we help get people, you know, to our team? And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, I mean, we got a full roster. We're happy with who we have. although if there's somebody out there that can make us better, we're going to be unafraid to approach them, but they got to understand what this environment is and what they're going to be faced with once they get here, but they want to help. They want to help. This is parents, like, unafraid, like, to bring even more talent in here because, they want to win. They want to go to the Final Four. They want to experience all of that. So, it's kind of cool parents that we have. Knowing that you bring somebody else in there, maybe somebody else will take some minutes from their daughter, So it's cool when you got competitive parents like that. I mean, I love it.
All right.
Now,
we'll
I may not love it in December and January, but I love it in April.
All right, we'll take these last three. We'll go David, Greg, and then Pete.
Donna, looking at the schedule, you had a lot of big games scheduled for last year and had to call off some of them. How's that going to work for next year? Do the contracts carry over? You have to start from scratch. I mean, are there any games that right now that are going to be on the slate next?
Oh man, Dave, we got. I said to myself that we wouldn't schedule as many. We needed some cupcake games to get, just get our players some experience, playing time. But it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that's the case because we don't want to lose some home and homes that we already had. So, the ones that we had, we're in talks of re-upping. Maryland, yes. Duke was one of them. NC State will return it. We'll return NC State. Connecticut will come back. We got the Bahamas trip that is, star-studded. What else?
Will y'all be going to Oregon like was planned last year, or is that?
No, that fell through for some reason. So yeah, I mean, we've been talking to Stanford as well because they have to come back east next year. So we're just trying to fit all of that in. So I mean, again, it's you got to do it. For us, the kind of way it worked out for us. We want to be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. And I'm saying this, I don't know if our players, I would like to be that, just so we are putting ourselves in the best possible position to win a national championship. And the way you do that is in November and December.
Greg, and then we'll close it out with Pete.
Hey, Dawn, I don't know if you've seen this, the past couple of weeks, but there have been, a couple of reports about you either coaching. I think someone threw you out for the UNC men's job, and I think Mark Jackson also talked about you as maybe being an NBA coach. I was just curious, is that something you ever think about? Or obviously you're very happy here, but what are your thoughts about, potentially?
No, I have no ounce of me really wants to coach outside of, college. I don't. I don't know why that my level of interest has never been, the coach in the WNBA or the coach in the NBA or coach on the men's side. I don't know why. Like I don't feel like I don't know why my competitiveness won't allow me to go there. And maybe because I just think there's too much work to be done in our game, like women's basketball. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I do think about making sure that, the players that I coach on this level will take great care of the WNBA. So it's around another 25 years. And it has to come from people who have been, a part of the WNBA. I do believe that, once you played it, once you've experienced not having to go overseas and you can play in the WNBA, you want every kid that you coach to experience that, to have the option of doing that. And I feel like I'm one of a few WNBA coaches that that coach on this level that can take care of our game in that way.
And the last question to Pete.
Dawn, obviously, it's been about 10 days since the tournament wrapped up. You got a lot of questions then about the inequalities between the men's and the women's tournament. Do you feel like the conversation that was had over those past 3 weeks is a good starting point to get people, to keep people mindful about those inequalities as we enter a period where maybe they won't be talked about as frequently as they were?
It's a good starting point. I do feel like there are people working behind the scenes now to make sure that the conversations are continued. Obviously, there's an investigation going on of both tournaments, and a lot of interviews are to be had when to continue the investigation, and hopefully we'll have some answers within, before, I don't know when they're going to be done with the investigation, but before the start of next season, that will help current student athletes get what they deserve, and whatever that is, whatever's equitable, not necessarily equal, equitable. So I'm excited about keeping this conversation alive, just like I'm excited about keeping, I don't know if I'm excited about, but we definitely need to keep all the social injustice things that are happening in our world in the forefront, because it's out of hand.